My kid asked the wrong questions at the worst time. They asked about my friend's relationship. Now my friend is furious. She blew up and told me to shut her up. I, 35F, and my husband, 36M, have a 5-year-old daughter. Recently she found our wedding album and has been absolutely obsessed with weddings and everything to do with them. She's been asking us a bunch of questions, for example why we got married. We've just been answering that we love each other a lot and thought it was right for us. Recently a friend of ours invited us to their 6th-year wedding anniversary party. The friend who was hosting the party and I are a part of a pretty large female friendship group that started in our law school days. All of us are either married with children, engaged or in a relationship of some sort. Mandy, 35F, is a part of this friendship group and is in a relationship with Baz, 38M. Mandy and Baz have been together for almost 8 years now. For the past 5, Mandy has been expressing to us that she really wants to get married, but Baz is very avoidant about it. To the point that when it's brought up he just says it's just a piece of paper and I don't need the government's approval to love you. Despite us gently suggesting that he might be unserious about her and that if they have different views on marriage they shouldn't be together, she insists they are meant to be and that he'll come to his senses. At the party all of the couples and kids were invited and my daughter was over the moon about all the wedding stuff. Mandy eventually strikes up a conversation with my daughter about school and such. My kid notices Baz and Mandy together and asks if they are married, why they aren't married when they will get married in a very awkward woven wovel you wover wovigs type manner. I was nearby and overheard the conversation and immediately tried to change the subject, apologized as I knew this was a touchy subject for Mandy. I made her apologize to Mandy for being nosy, but then she kinda snaps back at my daughter saying, well, we aren't married because I truly love him and I'm not a gold digger, lol. Some context: my husband is a very successful architect and his family comes from some wealth. My family is the opposite, with me being a first-generation law student. I had opened up to Mandy in the past that I was worried to meet my husband's family in case they think I'm just with him for his money and got nervous about what people thought once they knew I didn't originally come from wealth. I love my husband, have a great relationship with his family, and I'm very successful in my field as well, but I knew the comment was directed at me. She is the breadwinner in her relationship and has made snarky comments to me before about the size of my ring and how it looks too big and greedy and will opt for a different style when her and Baz get married. She has even implied that my husband is unattractive and made a comment that I only got pregnant early into the marriage because I wanted to seal that generational wealth down with a baby when I announced my pregnancy. Each time I kinda laughed it off and moved on, except for the last comment, which I shut down hard and kinda scared her out of saying anything else until this party. Everyone else there also overheard the conversation and knew the context of that comment, and the room just kinda went silent and awkward. It was the end of the party, so we kinda just left and said goodbye to the host. That was about 2 days ago. Today she sent me a message saying people were texting her that what she said wasn't cool and that she should apologize. She gave a very half-assed apology and said that she probably wouldn't have said anything if I had just shut my kid up earlier. To that I responded to not ever shit-talk my kid and that I wanted space from her, and said that this broke the camel's back, as it was said to my daughter. I told the other friends about the text and thankfully they backed me up and told her she was being a bitch. I think they were riding her so hard because a lot of the friend group were also first-generation students with equally successful partners. She sent a follow-up apology that was slightly more sincere and asked me to get people off her back. My husband is equally as mad, but said to maybe cut her a little slack because she is in such a shit place in her relationship and is projecting out of fear. The comment really hurt my feelings, but I knew she was in a tough place with Baz and probably could have controlled my daughter a little earlier. So Ida? Update posted IDOC how Reddit works, but it was too long, so I made a new post. Ada has no consensus bot. Oop received mixed reactions. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. This is why kids perhaps do not belong at gatherings like this. Oop. I do get it, and trust me, I'm not the type of parent that just brings her kid everywhere, but all of the couples that had kids were invited to bring their kids. I even asked the hosts when they were planning the party if they were sure they wanted kids there, and they said yes because they wanted a laid-back family barbecue vibe. Oops. Thoughts on Baz. Oop. I do think there is some truth to what you're saying, as I don't like Baz because I think he really isn't too nice to Mandy. I do agree marriage isn't the end-all be-all, but for Mandy it 100% is, which is why I don't think her and Baz are a great match and have told her so. I've held on to the friendship with Mandy so long because we have such a long history together, but I do think it might be time to go our separate ways. We have explained to our kid about same-sex couples, divorce etc. before, but I should clarify she is mostly obsessed with the wedding parts of marriage and hasn't really fully grasped what it actually means yet. Oop responds to a comment regarding not using her daughter as the messenger regarding Mandy's relationship. Oop, although I do have my opinions about her relationship, I do not talk about any of that with or around my daughter cause it's adults' business. I would never use my daughter as any sort of messenger, and all opinions I have on Mandy's relationship I have relayed to Mandy face to face when she has requested it. Oop should had keep her opinions to herself when it comes to Mandy's relationship or someone else's, since she pointed out critiques of the relationship. Oop, that is a fair opinion, but I will also clarify that I intervened as soon as I realized my daughter wasn't just asking one question on the subject, and as I said in the post, I tried to veer her away from the conversation, and after that didn't work I made her apologize for being nosy. Mandy was still my friend, and regardless of my opinion it was still a sore spot for her. I would never want to intentionally make my friend upset to get a point across. Oop provides an example of the conversation between her daughter and Mandy. Oop, let me clarify, I intervened by trying to essentially redirect my daughter to a different area of the party to not make things too awkward, but in typical curious kid fashion they were rapid fast. It kinda went like this. Daughter, are you married? Mandy, haha no. Me, walks over, insert daughter's name, come try the, insert party food, with me. Daughter, virtually ignores me, why aren't you guys married? Me, daughter name, Simon let's go. I try to pull her away. Mandy, awkward chuckling. I then interrupted my daughter before she could fully get the third question out, but context clues made it obvious that she was about to ask if they were going to get married soon. After I cut her off, I made her apologize for being too nosy. My thinking was that if I focus on redirecting her train of thought instead of scolding her in front of everyone, it would make things slightly less awkward. I do admit I could have put in more effort into cutting the questions off immediately. I originally wasn't going to update on the situation because I was honestly just going to ghost Mandy for a while and just forget about this whole thing. But I read some of the comments and decided to talk to my daughter. My husband and I sat her down and talked to her about how there are many different types of relationships because there are many different types of people. We told her some people want to get married, some don't, and that's okay, and how getting married isn't just about a wedding, it's a big commitment to another person. We also said that people can have long and happy relationship without getting married, and that isn't something to look down on people on. We also said that it is ultimately her choice to decide if she ever wants to get married in the future, and we would support her no matter what. We then explained that being curious and asking questions is a good thing, but marriage and weddings can be very personal for a lot of people, and if they don't want to talk about it, to respect that. She seemed to understand and still loves weddings and looks at my husband and I's wedding album often, but had thankfully chilled out a lil. I was still a bit confused on what to do about Mandy, as I had some mixed opinions in the comments. I did get a few that stuck with me, asking why we are even friends if she doesn't like me. I didn't want to confront the issue again, but in the past few days I found out I'm pregnant with a second kid. After the intel, joy with my husband surpassed a little. I got sad thinking about this drama and thinking about how I only wanted people around me who wholeheartedly supported me. I ended up sending a message to Mandy asking to meet up for a coffee. When I met her, I told her that we had been friends a long time, but her past comments about me hurt. I apologized for my daughter at the party, but that didn't make her comment okay. I also apologized if I ever came off to her as being judgmental or unapproving of her relationship with Baz, and that I only wanted her to be happy, and if she is, I completely support her. I then told her about the pregnancy and said that if she didn't like me, that was her prerogative, but I only wanted people around me that support me in this period of my life. She took it in and actually apologized for her comments and admitted that they were mean-spirited. She felt that because of her family, she's always had pressure to live up to traditional family life even though she didn't want to, and was happy with the way things were with Baz. I was happy we reached some sort of understanding, but things took a turn for the worst. She confessed that she purposely started saying mean comments to prevent me from falling into the stay-at-home mom trap. I was confused, and she clarified that 2 other women in the group have done the same after having children, and she predicted that I would go down the same route, so to protect me after I got engaged, she started indirectly shaming me in hopes I wouldn't quit my job to take care of my kids. I have never once said I wanted to be a stay-at-home mother, BTW. I told her that was fucking crazy and that I never once said I wanted to stop working because I love my job. She said that was a good thing, but she thought I would because of how often I talk about my daughter and how in her eyes I crave the validation of my husband too much. I said that she was being mean and that I've treasured her friendship for a long time, but I need to think about if it was worth saving. I'm now in my car typing this, head spinning. I don't want to be her friend anymore, but I'm scared that other people might shame me into it because of the baby coming. What do I do? Top comments. Commenter 1. It sounds like this meetup with Mandy was a sincere attempt on your part, but everything she said, the pressure from her parents and the supposed plan to save you from a trap, was all just her looking for ways to deflect the responsibility for what she did. It shows that her so-called apology is not sincere at all. It is completely reasonable that you don't want to be her friend anymore because it is clear that she is not your friend and hasn't been in a long time. Commenter 2. Go low contact. When asked by other people, just reply with answers like "we have some disagreements" or "too busy," depends on who is asking. As a mom of 2 and never once wanting to be a stay-at-home mom, what Mandy said only confirmed that 1. She is rude, 2. She is full of biases, and 3. She does not know you at all. This is no friend of yours. It's time to drop some dead weight. You'll find life so much better after that. Commenter 3. Please reread what you wrote while imagining your daughter going through the same experience with a friend. Would you tell her to forgive the same manipulation, aggression, and cruelty? Would you worry about this clearly damaged person being around your granddaughter and soon-to-be grandchild? Protect yourself like you would protect your children.